Hello and welcome back to the channel. So tonight we're going to be making a 7-Up pound cake. That's right, a 7-Up pound cake. We're going to start off with 2 sticks of softened butter. I'm going to go ahead and get those in. That's one in, and here goes number 2 in. That's number 2. And then we're also gonna do a half a cup of shortening. And so that's the shortening, the Crisco shortening. Like I said, we're gonna do a half of a cup. So there we have in our bowl 2 sticks of unsalted butter, softened, and a half a cup, which is a half a stick of shortening. Now we are going to let those 3 come together a little bit. All right. So we're going to take our spatula and we're going to make sure that everything is getting to the center where it will be mixed in. Okay. So our next thing that we're going to add is 3 cups of sugar to our butter. 3 cups of sugar. All right, so here goes our first cup of sugar in with the butter. And then we're going to add our second cup of sugar. Make sure you measure it. Cup number 2. And here goes cup number 3. That's 3. I'm going to go ahead and turn our mixer back on and let this mix to the right consistency. And that kind of takes sometimes 7 to 8 minutes. And so we're going to let that go. And so we're going to stop it and scrape down the sides. And for me, it just seems like when you let your ingredients, your sugar, your eggs, and not your sugar, your butter and your eggs and any liquid get the room temperature, it is so much easier to mix your ingredients. But always make sure you scrape down so that all your ingredients can get well combined in the mix. We're going to turn it back on. And we're gonna stop it now and scrape again. Turning it back on. Okay, so that is good. We're going to turn our mixer off. Scrape for this last time. And look how fluffy and just beautiful the sugar and the butter is. Nice and silky and fluffy. That's what you want. You don't want your butter to be all solid. And if your ingredients are mixed correctly and added correctly, then most definitely your cake should come out correctly. All right, so next we are going to add our room temperature eggs. We have 5 room temperature eggs, and we're going to add them one at a time. Here we go. Egg number 1. Oh, 1 and 2 decided to jump in together. You want to let your eggs mix until you feel that they're well combined. Here we go with egg number 3. Egg number 4. As well as egg number 5, the last one in the bowl. All right, so we're now going to turn our mixer off. We're going to scrape down. And we've also started to preheat our oven on 325. So if you want to go ahead and preheat your oven, it's going on 325. Next, we're going to add in a teaspoon of vanilla extract. A teaspoon. Let me find my teaspoon. All right, teaspoon. Here we go. And again, this is a teaspoon of vanilla. So there's our teaspoon in. And we are going to use next a teaspoon of lemon extract. I got that vanilla on my brain. All right, and there's our teaspoon of lemon. We're going to turn our mixer back on and give that a gentle mix. All right, that's good. So next we will be adding in our flour. So let me get a container because I like to put my flour in a container. there's my container. Bear with us. Okay, so we have our 3 cups. I'm not sure if you can see, but this is the bowl. We have 3 cups of flour in the bowl. We also have our half a teaspoon of salt in the same bowl. I'm going to give it just a little stir with the spoon, and then we will begin to add our flour mixture along with alternating our um, 1/4 cup of heavy cream, and we have the star of the show, which is the 1 cup of 7 Up. So I'm gonna pop this up just a little bit. I'm gonna scoop in some of the sugar. I'm just calling everything the wrong thing. The flour. I'm gonna let that mix for a little bit. And we're gonna add in some of our heavy cream. It's a 1/4 cup. So just add a little bit in because you want to rotate your dry, wet, dry, wet, and you want to end up with the dry being the last one. I'm going to turn this down so we can add in some more flour. That's our flour. And now I'm going to add the rest of our heavy cream in the mix. Let's see if we can get all of that out of there. Now we're going to add in the rest of our flour. And that's all of the flour in. And now that our flour is in, we are now going to go ahead and add our cup of 7 Up, which is our star of the show, as well as the last ingredient for the cake. Turn it up just a little. And that is much as I'm going to mix, because you do not want to overmix your batter. If you overmix your batter, it is definitely going to flop and drop on you. So we do not want that to happen. Try to get all of the batter off of there. I remember when I was younger and my mom would bake her cakes, or my grandmama, and when they finished baking them, they would pass the spoon over to you and allow you to um, and I'm trying to scrape everything off the side, allow you to lick the spoon. These days you can't do that with the eggs. You just can't do it. And so what I'm doing now is just folding in what I scraped off the sides and making sure that the bottom is well combined. I don't want to mix it. I'm just trying to fold it in. And now our oven is all ready for us to go. And so we're going to get this beautiful batter into the cake pan. So hold tight. So we now have the cake batter into our bundt pan. And what I'm doing now is just trying to even it out so we don't have a uneven cake. And a step that I did not show on film is me flouring my cake pan. You always want to make sure you grease and flour or use some type of spray or whatever is your go-to. My go-to is buttering the pan and then lightly sprinkling the flour in the pan. And so that's as far as we're going to get with um, getting our cake mix in. We're going to gently tap it a couple times on the counter to get the air out. And then I'm also going to let it sit for maybe about 5 minutes, and just to ensure that we get all of the bubbles out, the air out of the cake. Um, so stay tuned. So here we are. Our 7-Up pound cake has finished cooking. I checked it at the 1 hour mark and it wasn't ready, so I put it back in so that it would finish the hour and 15. At the hour and 15, it still wasn't ready. And so I gave it 7 more minutes and now it's ready. So the best thing to do is always check, because every oven is not going to cook the same. So that's why it's best to check the check and see if your cake is done at an hour mark. And then if not, kind of judge how many more minutes you think it needed. And I knew that the 15 minutes was going to be good for my cake. And so I checked it again after that and it still wasn't quite ready. But, just use your better judgment, because, of course, like I said, every oven is not going to bake the same. So here we are, and it's out. I'm going to put it on my cooling rack and let it sit for about, I'm going to let it sit for about 30 minutes, and I'm not going to bother it. It's best to let it rest. So once it has rested in the pan, then I'm going to take it out of the pan and allow it to cool down some more before I add the glaze to it. So stay tuned.
Your home is now on stay.
Delicious.